Hello, everyone, and welcome to Global Outlook. I'm Mary Sitt. Our first guest knew he wanted to be a leader when he was about 5 or 6 years old, playing soccer. Today, Bill Davis is a government major here at HCC, and he is the president of the United Student Council and president of the Southeast Student Government Association. Bill, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Ms. Sitt. Thank you for having me today.
Bill, tell me what happened on that soccer field when you were so young and you decided right then you wanted to be a leader.
I had made it to practice early, and so I was getting my cleats and stuff on to head to the field because practice was about to start. And I walked out onto the field, and I had seen that I was actually the only African American on the field, it was a surprise to me at first. But then I was like, okay, I could get used to this. And so the coach, everyone was looking at me. So coach, he told everyone, Bill is what you call a leader. As you can see, is he looks different than you, but one day he might actually be the person who actually, is running this country. So for that, I am grateful. And it has followed me all the way until my current, stage.
So when you told me the story earlier, the coach goes to the kids, what's different about Bill? Right? They asked that question. And then you answered it for them, right? Or did you say I'm a leader?
Yes, I'm a leader. And so after I said I'm a leader and coach asked what's different about Bill, that's when my cohorts actually found out that I would be the team captain.
Okay, so did you want to be a leader because you wanted to be the boss and boss all the kids around? Or what was it about being a leader that appealed to you? Because a lot of kids would be very shy and not want to be in that role.
No, actually, what appealed me to be a leader was, I wouldn't say I grew up poor, but I didn't grow up rich either. And I wanted to actually see change in my community. I have unfortunately seen a lot that a lot of, students or some people have not seen. So I actually wanted to make an effective change in my community.
So Bill, what other things happened along the way in your childhood that sort of kept nudging you towards leadership positions?
I believe my grandmother, first off, my grandmother and my grandfather assisted my mother on raising me. So I think they played a big part. And then on top of that, when I first moved to Houston, and I didn't write this to you, but when I first moved to Houston in 2007, a fight had broke out at the middle school that I was attending at the time. And when the fight broke out, I actually broke up the fight. And that actually started my career in student government.
So you were a mediator.
Correct.
And I remember you told me that in 2007, first of all, how old were you in 2007?
2007, if I'm not mistaken, I was about 10, maybe 11.
So you told Melanie Lawson of Channel 13 News that you wanted to be the first African-American president of the United States, and that was before Barack Obama became president.
Correct.
Where did you get the nerve to say that? Where did that come from?
That was actually right after I fulfilled the position as president of her father's school in 3rd Ward, Houston. It was called William Wallop. That stood for William A. Lawson Institute for Peace and Prosperity. And so I got that after I accepted the position, and they actually created the role for student government. So I said, and I had told Melanie, I said, one thing is I actually want to be president of the United States, and primarily the first Black president of the United States, is because I want to be the change, and I want to actually put change into where change can be.
Now, Bill, you served as president, vice president, and secretary of the Houston Housing Authority Resident Council from 2014, I believe, to 2018. What was that experience like?
Oh, man, that experience was actually good. It was a lot of learning opportunity. I was the youngest person to sit on one of their boards for their resident councils. Some days it was good, some days it was bad, but my main goal was to build the gap and fix the gap between the Houston Housing Authority and its residents, especially over on the north side. that's where my board was taking place. So I wanted to actually help my community.
Is there one thing that stands out as something that you are proud of that you accomplished while you served on that board?
Actually, yes. There's a lot of things I could bring up, but one of the things that I could actually say I am proud of is that right before Hurricane Harvey had hit, we actually had prepared some of the residents that we could with getting prepared and stuff and how to safely make it out. On top of, we used to do a lot of the events for our students and our kids in the community. So I'm very proud of that.
Bill, as a leader, what kind of qualities make a good leader? And do you think anyone can learn to be a leader, or are people just sort of innately born leaders?
Oh, no. People can most certainly become a leader. It's just the learning opportunities that form you into the active leader that you need to be. A lot of people used to actually tell me that I was a born leader, and I'd be like, no, it took a lot of learning and, communications and stuff to get to where I am. So yes, most certainly anybody could become a leader.
Bill, you're a full-time student. You are a husband. You have a full-time job. You also have a part-time job. And until very recently, you cared for your grandfather who had Alzheimer's and dementia. How did you juggle all that, and how did you accomplish that?
The best way to put that is in the words of one of my classmates from last academic year. And when she first saw me, she just said the words grace. I am graced to have more, not more than I could bear. So that's what keeps me going. And my grandfather, my late grandfather, who passed about 2 months ago, next week, he was actually my light and my shining, thing to continue on to become who I am and to be better than who I am today.
That's great. Bill, what are your academic goals after HCC? I know you're a government major, but it's a 2-year course. And when you're done with HCC, where do you want to go next?
I will be going to, I don't know exactly where I will be going, but my next goals after my government associate's degree is to move into law and get a bachelor's and a master's in law. And who knows, I might become a doctor in some field along the lines with a PhD.
Very nice. And I'll be addressing you as Mayor Bill Davis someday, right? You want to go into politics, is that right?
Correct. I actually want to go into politics also. And who knows, one day I might become mayor, councilman, and who knows, I might give running for governor of Texas a shot.
Okay. So back to the students, down to the students, what advice would you give to other students who have aspirations and maybe they're not a leader yet, but they'd like to be? They'd like to be that president of the United Student Council when your term is done.
The one thing that I will tell students is go for it. You're technically never prepared to take on a leadership role. So I would just tell you, go ahead, go for it. We would love to have you at the United Student Council and also the Student Government Association boards. So go for it, and we'll love to have you.
Okay, thank you so much, Bill Davis, for being with us. And you have something that you told me earlier. I love that saying. What is it? Sort of your motto you live by. What is that?
Oh, the motto that I live by?
Mm-hmm.
The motto that I live by is you are not the limit. You are the limit. The sky's not the limit. You are the limit.
The sky is not the limit. You're the limit. So don't limit yourself. Is that right?
Don't limit yourself because you got this.
Great. Bill, thank you so much for being with us, and best of luck with all your career goals.
Thank you, Ms. Sid. Thank you for having me.
Coming up next, a South Asian immigrant from Uganda follows in his parents' footsteps to become a successful entrepreneur. We'll explain when we come back.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I I need to eat apples and bananas? Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
HCC, for everyone, anytime, anyway.
Our next guest was 6 years old when he, his sister, and parents came to the U.S. as refugees, escaping the harsh regime of Idi Amin in Uganda. Today, Munir Ibrahim is a successful entrepreneur. He's president of Ion Investments, a commercial real estate firm, and he holds an honorary degree from HCC. Munir, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much, Mary, for having me on here today.
So tell me about this honorary degree at HCC. How'd you get that?
It was actually a big surprise. Some of the trustees got together, I'm thinking it was about 7 years ago, and they recognized a lot of the work I was doing in the community, a lot of nonprofit work. And so they gave me the honorary degree, and it was just a wonderful event. I just really enjoyed being a part of it.
That's great. And also, I understand you worked with the Aspire program. Tell me about that.
You know, the Aspire program is there to serve the Asian American families here in Houston. And it was actually one of the trustees, Trustee Sane, who was spearheading that at the time. And I learned quite a bit. You know, I think there's this big idea out there that all Asian Americans are wealthy and that they all have high IQs. And quite frankly, we're part of the entire fabric of America, and it's not entirely true.
We're not all crazy rich Asians.
No, we're not, you know. And so the Aspire program was, you know, put together so we could raise funds to help out those Asian American families who did not have the funds to send their children to school and support them. So it's been a wonderful program.
And that was on HCC also, the Aspire program, right?
That's correct. Yes. Okay. Yes.
So now you own your own real estate investment firm. What has it been like during the pandemic?
It's challenging. It's quite challenging. There's many things that we're having to do today that, you know, a year and a half, 2 years ago were something we weren't even thinking about. And we have to be on our toes constantly to stay up with what's going on, because I see a lot of people who are being affected by it, you know, restaurant owners, things like that are having to shut down. And fortunately for us, we have not been put in that position yet.
Can you tell me what are some things you had to do to pivot and just change the way you do business in order to survive?
Yeah, actually, you know, working overtime. In fact, I had to increase staff. We've been actually able to expand our business. So we've been fortunate because during the pandemic, there's certain macroeconomic things that are going on that obviously everyone knows about with real estate and boom that's happening out there. So that's allowed us to actually expand and bring in more people. How we've been able to actually serve the people that we are, you know, our tenant base is to provide them more service, not less service, because we think that by going in and addressing some of their needs, that will help them mitigate some of the risks that they have going on.
So what additional services have you had to increase or to add to your tenants?
Yeah, so, you know, there's quite a few government programs out there to help out tenants. And, you know, not all of them are able to navigate it, whether it's commercial space or residential space. And so what we did is basically took the time to learn about these programs. And then we have somebody on staff now that actually reaches out to them, shares the program with them, works with them, so they can get some of this assistance that's available to them.
That's great.
And besides that, then we work with them individually just to see where they are financially and seeing how we can work with them over this period of time.
Because they're probably so busy just trying to survive that to have a service like that to help them navigate the government grants is probably very valuable to them.
Yeah, and you know, it's cumbersome. You know, we're not all equipped to handle that. And so we just educated ourselves on it. And that's been really our godsend to all of our tenant base and us as well.
Munir, how do you define resilience, and how have you been able to become resilient during these past 18 months?
You know, I take everything back to my parents. I think that coming here from a country when you didn't speak the language, dropped all your bags and just had to get on a flight and come across a ocean that you never knew. There's no better example for me than watching my parents and the resilience they had. No matter what I go through, I always look and think how it must have been like to be in your 20s and having 2 children and having to pick up the pieces again. And so, I get my fortitude, my strength from that. And
You said that your mom worked for 10 years as a seamstress and your dad worked for Ford Company, something like that, for a while before you came to Houston. They saved all their money up and moved
every
here.
bit of it.
That.
Yeah. We still joke about that because we always say, remember, Mom, when you used to ration Coke to us, or our big meal out was going and getting a Happy Meal at McDonald's because they literally saved every penny they had. And my mom worked for about 95 cents an hour back then.
Wow.
And my dad worked at Ford Motor Company on the loading docks, and that's how they survived,
And they saved all their money to move to Houston for a better opportunity and then started over in Houston. Is that right?
That's correct. We're the most multicultural city in America. And it's not just their story, but I hear so many other stories here about people who have come here. And Houston gives opportunities. And they considered moving to other cities, but once they came to Houston, they were hooked, and we packed our bags and drove overnight here, and the rest is history,
So from your parents, you obviously learned long hours, hard work, perseverance. Is that right?
Yes, all of it. The 16, 18-hour days, they were pretty normal for about 10 years there. And I'm back to doing some of those hours again, so I can't stop doing that.
You don't need much sleep, do you?
Oh, God. These days, no. I don't have a choice.
All right, we're going to take a short break here, but we'll be right back with Munir talking about some very valuable work he's doing with Afghan refugees and how you can make a difference helping out. Stay with us.
Today, I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
I love teaching at HCC. I love helping students.
With college credits.
With scholarships and financial aid.
Training them for life-changing careers.
Come learn with us. HCC, for everyone, anytime, anyway.
We've been talking with Munir Ibrahim, the president of Ion Investments, a real estate investment firm. He also serves on numerous boards, including as chair of the Citizenship Month, a City of Houston initiative of Mayor of Houston, as director of the Office of New Americans, also City of Houston, and a member of the board of directors of the Alliance, a nonprofit organization that creates opportunities for refugees, immigrants, and the underserved community. Munir, and plus numerous other boards. I don't have time to name all, but one of the big things you're working on right now is the Alliance as a board member. Tell me what you're doing with the Alliance and how they're helping refugees.
Yeah, it's my passion. Honestly, it's that part of my life now that I'm in where I can give back. And, for all the audience that does not know it, we're going to have a huge influx of refugees from Afghanistan who will be coming here. And we like to refer to them as our Afghan allies because they were our allies while we were in Afghanistan. We're anticipating having over 200 families arrive in Houston over the next 3 months, which is a large, tall order. And the Alliance, it is one of the premier agencies here in Houston that serve the underserved community. They have so many programs that are available to, everybody across the board, and specifically geared to the refugee community because, this is a whole new place for them to be coming to. They really need a lot of hand-holding initially. But the entire program that the Alliance offers is, yes, they hold your hand through the first year while you're here, but everything is geared to make you self-sufficient. And so from the time you get here, you are first, given, you've gotten your help to get your driver's license, learn English as a proficiency. We train people to get jobs in the fields that they would like to. Believe it or not, that we even give driver's license education classes, and the driver's license is given there, and CDL classes are offered, commercial driving school program. So quite a few different programs that I can get into that we offer. Actually, one of my favorite ones, if I can speak about that, is it's called Community Clock, and it's Community Clock. Okay. You can look it up, on your website on a Google search. And what it is the elderly community that comes here, they may not have the ability to learn a new trade, but they have learned like different sewing techniques or things of that nature, or knitting from wherever they came from. So these women then will use that talent, and then you go to Community Cloth, you put that item up there, and it's become one of the biggest things where we sell it for them during the holiday season. And it's been fantastically received, yes.
That's terrific.
If anybody's looking for a gift item, that's the place to go.
And you know what? I want to learn how to knit. Seriously, I want to learn how to knit. So maybe I could learn how to knit, and then I'll teach them English. Can we work at a deal, Munir, afterwards?
I think we can manage that, yeah.
I can teach ESL. So there's lots of opportunities. I mean, if 200 families are coming, you have to find 200 apartments or houses to live in, right? I mean, where do you find these? Are people donating things they own or getting government, what are you doing for housing?
Yeah, so, initially, as I said, there is some grants that will be given to them. And then about 6 months, 7 months, they're standing on their own feet. We have many people who have offered to assist in terms of housing, but, housing in Houston right now is, hard to find. Mm-hmm. And so there is a need. And if anybody out there has a rental property, please reach out to the Alliance. You can look it up at the Alliance, tx.org is the website to go to. And if you have some potential property, that's a great place to start. Now, besides that, you have to remember every one of these has to be furnished. So we are taking donations for any type of furniture or items that you may have that can furnish a home.
Now, where can people drop this the household furnishings off?
The Alliance office accepts donations every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. If you have a large donation, you can call the office and they will send a truck to your home or your business, and they will pick up those items from you.
Okay, so what if you don't have a lot of things to donate? Of course, there's money. You accept monetary donations.
Yeah.
Any amount is helpful, I'm sure. $10, $20, whatever you can do.
Yes.
But what if you have time more than money? Do you have can volunteers sign up to do something, like physically do something to help out?
Absolutely. Great question. Yes, because these folks, for example, when they arrive at the airport, they need people who will go out there and pick them up, make them feel welcome, hold their hand, make sure that they get to where they're supposed to go. That's just one of the items. One of the things I always share is I was a refugee, and I recall that what was so important that people don't understand is you don't know anybody. And so to have a friend that you can pick up the phone and say, we have to get somewhere, and how do we get there? Or we don't know how to navigate this. Simple things that you don't know about, like, how to get your children registered in school. It's very nice if you could have somebody that you can just call on and have a friend. And so what we talk about is adopting a family. And so, and what the Alliance does is basically if you sign up on the volunteer list, you'll go through a brief training program so that you understand how to work with these families, and then you can volunteer in that way.
Okay, so Munir, we're in the middle of a pandemic, which complicates a lot of things. People may be thinking, I wouldn't mind picking up a family from the airport, but are they positive? Are they negative? They've been tested. Are they going to be having masks? Do I hand out masks? We're going to be sitting in our little car, my car, do I roll the windows down? I mean, I'm serious, right? People think about it. Even if you're vaccinated, you think about this. So tell me how you're dealing with that, in the midst of a pandemic.
I'd like to share something with the audience here. As much as we may not understand this, the refugees that are coming here and coming into this country, they are vetted so well that their backgrounds are checked better than our neighbors are. And quite frankly, when it comes to COVID, they're going to have all the vaccinations and everything before they're brought here. So we do know that. And in terms of what you are willing to accept, of course, many of us are vaccinated today and are pretty comfortable with getting out. But for myself, for example, if I'm out in an environment which has many people, I wear a mask. And if that's your comfort level, of course, we ask you and urge you to wear a mask. And we go through that during our training program and speak about that as well.
So the refugees who are coming over into Houston are fully vaccinated?
Yes, from my understanding, they go thoroughly through all of those things before they're brought into the U.S.
That's great. That gives you a big comfort level in terms of meeting people you don't know and then doing things for them. So what's the biggest need right now? Is it English languages? Is it jobs or what sort of things are most needed? Can you tell me a little about that?
Yeah, so initial request is going to be the next 3 to 6 months is getting them settled in. Okay. And then just, again, I can't share enough about what the services the Alliance provides because A to Z, the entire goal is to get them acclimated into our society as quickly as possible, become a productive part of our society, taxpayers, and they go through a pretty tough, first year, and then most of the families are up and on their feet within that first year, the second year. And really, they're going to become your neighbors. They're going to become our waiters, waitresses. And hopefully one day we'll be all going to their Afghan restaurants and trying out their food, right? Because that's what it's all about.
And Munir, you are testament to the fact that immigrants are some of the hardest working people. They want to be independent. They don't want to depend on government handouts, right? They want to establish a new life and contribute to this society, right?
Yeah, absolutely. America is the melting pot. America is the land of opportunity. And I don't, if our audience does not know this, when you come here, many countries that you leave behind, they don't offer these opportunities. So when you come here and you're able to take the energy of what this country provides, this is why immigrants are just like, wow, we can do this. We're able to do this. They take it and they run with it,
That's great. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Munir, for telling us about this opportunity for all of us to jump in and help out our new neighbors coming in here.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all of this with the audience.
That's all for this edition of Global Outlook. We'll see you again every Friday and Sunday at 7:30 a.m. and p.m. plus Saturday at 10 a.m. You can also download a podcast to go on our website at hccs.edu/podcast or watch the full video version on HCC's YouTube channel. I'm Mary Sitch. Thanks for joining us.